So, hello everyone.
Sound all right in the back? Thumbs up. Thank you.
After evaluating the film, again, liked our team's effort with the intangibles. I thought we played with a lot of physicality. I played with good effort. We competed very well in the game. Overcome some things that we put ourselves in situation for, some penalties that we got to get cleaned up, and I'll talk about in a minute. But never let it, just kept playing the next play, competed the next play, handled situations very well. I thought special teams did an outstanding job. We made a difference in the game. I thought we fielded all the punts, which was tremendous because some of their punts were a little short and high. They were hanging them, not giving you much chance to return, but we weren't letting the ball hit the ground, win in field position. Their one ball was a short punt we couldn't get to. Made a great decision to make the Peter call and get out of there. I thought from a kickoff standpoint, our guys covered very well. We kicked the ball well, except for the very last one. I think we lost concentration. He kicked it out of bounds, which we can't happen. But his kickoffs have been great, and we're hanging them back by the goal line. And the one they did bring out again, we tackled it at the 16-yard line. I thought we did a great job there. Kickoff return, we're very close. I mean, we're getting close on popping out, but that's the way it is. Always on kickoff return and punt return, it's always one guy sometimes, and we just got to clean it up. But our techniques are getting better. You can see us getting better in everything we're doing in that regard. Our PAT field goal, Seth stepped in as a freshman and hit the ball outstanding. I mean, that was a big moment for him to walk out there in that stadium and take not being ready, thinking you have to play this year, and to walk out there and all of a sudden you never know, hit the ball tremendously. Balls are right down the middle and good, more solid. They weren't missed kicks. You could hear the thump on them. And then of course we got the big score on our PAT block and almost had another one blocked. Our inside guys on the push, Mack and Matabuke, were outstanding in the game, getting pushed, and then Durham and Kiki in there getting pushed inside, and able to turn that game and get a big momentum swing there for our special teams. That was huge when you can score on special teams. And then, as I say, 25, Dotson gets rewarded with a great block because he does what he's supposed to do and go to the level of the kicker for a scoop and score and to make sure on fakes, and the ball hits right to him. I mean, it's a perfect scenario, and our guys did a great job, and we were able to capitalize on it from that standpoint. From the kicking game, I think I like the improvements we're making. We punted the ball outstanding. We only punted twice, but, man, hits a great 47-yarder with no return, and then hits a 39-yarder, pins them on a 13. I mean, great job inside the 20. So from that standpoint, we're getting better and understanding what we're trying to do and what we're doing there defensively. Early, give up a couple big plays. I violated. Just got two guys fitting in one gap instead of gap control and eye violation, and we got to close the space out a little better with our backers on downhill runs a couple times that we gave a little space, which allowed it to squirt through. And if we trigger just a little quicker with our eyes and keep our eyes in there, then one time on the reverse we got outflanked. Another time we just eye violated, got staring in the backfield, but they hit one double move on us. But they were, we knew they had skill guys, and they come in playing and being aggressive. Then in the second half, made great adjustments, kept great leverage on the ball, tackled very well, fit downhill well, and played the runs and the passes like we needed to play them, and played a good game. Like I say, didn't like the score right before half. We gave up a couple big plays there, and that was from the eye violations. But otherwise, they made adjustments and tackled and played very hard and got 4 sacks in the game, some tackles for loss, so did a good job. Offensively, very efficient. Only had the ball 4 times the first half. It was a weird game as far as that goes. Scored 3 out of the 4 and 7 out of the 9 in the game. I think it was disappointing that we had 3 touchdowns called back for holds and the legitimate calls. I mean, I thought we did them, and we got to get those cleaned up. Can't let that happen anymore because that'll kill you, especially when you're getting points on the board. In that regard, and they were just base fundamental things, just overreaching on on reach blocks, stepping under yourself and crossing over and getting yourself in a bad position. So you naturally do that when your feet aren't in position, your hands are going to grab, and we got to do that with our eye control and get our pad level, know where our landmarks are, and be a little more under control. But I thought the physicality of running the football, we got down here, we ran the football against some tough looks as they blitzed and played the box inside. They were a constant 7-8 man box and blitzing. We were picking them up, did a good job. And for the most part, did a really nice job in pass pro, except for the first third down. We converted well on third downs, knew where the sticks are. I thought Kellen was really sharp in the game as far as understanding what he was doing with the ball, where he was going, even in our run checks, as he controls a lot of that too, and getting us in and out of the right plays and protections. I thought he did an outstanding job. Of course, Travion ran the ball well, and we had a conglomerate of receivers that all made plays across the board. And Oz keeps leading those guys, but Kendrick's down, and unfortunately, Chap gets hurt and out for the year with the injury, and so we were able to still, those young guys stepped up and made plays and did some great things in regard to that. So they did well. And, of course, 81 still made some plays. Our other tight end, Trevor Wood, I thought did a great job. Jace, of course, did. But Trevor made some really key things in there people don't notice on some blocks and some edge pressures and things that was outstanding. And then they saw the young backs. That way did a nice job. And, of course, Corbin come in and ran the ball very nicely and liked what he did. Nick come in was very sharp. That's what I was glad to see. Nick come in was sharp throwing the football. Hard to do that, sometimes when you sit over there like that. But he was ready to play, and did a nice job. We got to get the penalties cleaned up and got to continue to have the balance in what we're trying to do, but we're making progress and get ready to play this week against Alabama. Alabama has an outstanding team, as we all know, defending national champions and all that, and playing outstanding this year. I mean, and they're all going to take 3 phases: offense, defense, special teams. They're sound and they're dynamic. They can score points even with their defense. They got great rush guys, play the run very well, leverage the ball out well, mixed coverages. I mean, multiple, do a great job there. Offensively, very dynamic, can run it. Runners are powerful, good offensive line. Tight ends, got athletes there that can get vertical. The 3 or 4 receivers that play are dynamic, get vertical down the field. Of course, Tua is playing outstanding. And then Jalen, when he plays outstanding. So in that regard there, and special teams, they're kicking the ball well. Waddle does a great job in the return game. So, I mean, we're going to have our hands full, but, it's the next game. We got to get ready to play, lock up, and have a great practice.
To the back left, Jake, and then to the right, Gabe.
Coach, a two-part question.
What was that?
To the far left, sorry.
Two-part question. Coach, as a young coordinator, what did you learn maybe being on Coach Saban's staff? Maybe how did you grow as a coach? And why do you think, recently he's had so much success going up against head-to-head with his assistants?
Well, I think, first of all, he's created a culture at his place. They expect to win. They know how to win. They got good players and they're well coached. So that makes it a real good combination in what you're doing. And everybody else is building their programs and establishing their programs to where you go. But he's done a great job and he's a great coach. And you learn from everybody. I've learned from everybody I've coached with, from Terry Bowden to Bobby Bowden to Les Miles to Rick Minner to Coach Saban. I mean, there's a lot of things you learn. And when you go against a guy who's as well thought of as a defensive mind, you have to come up with different protections, different ways to run. You have to be multi-formational and understanding how to attack guys like that. So, yes, it definitely made me grow as a coach. There's no doubt.
To the right, Gabe, and then to the left, Travis.
Hey, Jimbo, you're 9th running the football right now and 14th at stopping it defensively. You're facing a team that has built its program foundation on doing both better than anybody. How much are you looking forward to the challenge and kind of a measuring stick opportunity?
Well, I think as a competitor, you always look forward to the challenge, but they're going to be outstanding, and we're going to have to play well. And our philosophies are probably similar in that regard, and I believe in this league, the teams that can run it and the teams that can stop the run are successful, even though you have to make your dynamic plays down the field, but it sets up everything else. And it will be a tremendous challenge because they have so many runners, and they do a great job. And then now with the quarterback Tua and Hurts involved in the game, how they run the football too, and you got to account for those guys, man. It makes it tough on what they do. And then you say that, okay, I'm going to stop the run, but then you isolate the receivers and one-on-ones, and it makes it tough there too. So, I mean, they're well-rounded, they're balanced, and it's going to be extremely demanding. And for us on our side, on the offensive side, as far as being able to block up front, because sometimes they don't always have to get the extra guy in the box. They two-gap, have great big guys up front, play very physical, leverage the ball and tackle well. So it's going to be a challenge, and then they bring a lot of pressure at times too. So we'll have our hands full, that's for sure.
Front left, Travis, and then to the right, Ben.
Coach, after getting to watch the film a little bit, is there any different concerns at the left side of the offensive line and left tackle?
No.
To the right, Ben.
Jimbo, when you took this job, were you aware that y'all were going to have to build a program specifically to beat Alabama, given how well they played in the West?
Well, you always have to look to who's winning the conference. I mean, that's who you have to go. You have to go build. But I always know this: you got to beat everybody in this conference. I was in this conference for 13 years. I mean, at Auburn and LSU, and we won it in both places. And to do that, you get caught up on one person. There's about 3 more to tear both legs and an arm off. I mean, so you can't get into that. I mean, there's so many multitude of things in this league. You have to be very multidimensional on what you're able to do on offense and defense because you play a multitude of different things. But, of course, Alabama is the reigning SEC champ, the 5 national championships and all that. So in that regard, you're going to have the physicality and get the athletes to be able to play against them without a doubt.
To the right, Sam.
Jimbo, when you got here, you talked about what this program has, and obviously you want to get to that standard level that Alabama has. What is missing, or what does this program need to get to that level that it doesn't have right
We're
now?
just trying to get better tomorrow, and that's what we got to focus on. We got to learn how to practice, learn how to prepare, learn how to get ready to play in the next game. Doesn't matter who you play. It's how you play. And we got to set our own standard, and we have to look in the mirror to the standards in which we want. And then when you can do that, then you can worry about somebody else. And most of the time, then you quit worrying about them. You can take care of yourself. So it's about us and taking care of us and learning to have the standard and the fortitude to go out and do it day in, day out with great consistency.
Down front, Brent.
You have 3 home games so far. You go toe-to-toe with the number 2 team in the nation. What do you tell your guys going into an environment like that with their first road game?
Practice real well and be prepared. If you practice well and prepared, you're going to revert back to your training. So you lock in. There's a football field. It's 100 yards long. It's got 10-yard end zones, the same width. It's got 2 goalposts. At the end of the day, when you watch the film, you're going to watch a football game. eliminate the clutter. Now, is that tough? Yes, without a doubt, for young guys and young people. But you got to believe in your training, practice well, prepare well, and then take what you do and play the next play.
Front left, Zach, and then Ben.
Jimbo, with the number one team in the country, I imagine you don't really need to get your guys psyched up for that. Is there a time in which a team might be not overly prepared? That's not the right word, but maybe a little too amped up. Do you have to pull those guys back at all?
I hope not. No, I hope we should train. We should practice the same way we did for last week and the week before and the week before that and the week after that. That's what I say. It's about us. It's not about who you play. It's how you play. And that standard's got to be set by yourself, and the preparation you got to set for yourself. Now, we have tremendous respect for them. Not saying anything about that, but we have to control what we can control. We know they'll practice well, and hopefully we'll practice well.
Go Ben, Olin, and Suzanne.
Whenever y'all ran the ball against Clemson, I mean, do you feel like the production was a product of the game, or was it something y'all were doing scheme wise? Why do you think y'all weren't able to run it as well as y'all might have liked?
Well, we did early, and then I think the game itself we got behind and had success, and them committing to the box and doing things we did, and we had things down the field that we wanted to get to, and we were having success with it. So you call the game, you adjust accordingly, and that's one of the things about our system is you can run it or we can throw it, we can drop back it, we can spread it, or we can play action it, and those are the things that work because at the end of the day, it's not about running the ball, it's about scoring points. It's about scoring points and putting the ball in the end zone and doing what you have to do to win the game. That's what we thought was best for us to win the game.
Staying to the right, Olin, then Suzanne.
Yeah, Coach, you've talked about, you alluded to Alabama's defense. They're able to score on defense, things like that. And when you play them, where Kellen's involved, do you ever put more emphasis, more instruction on ball security, or do you just have them to go out and play the
We do that
same
every
way?
day. I mean, there's two hands on the ball, tuck it high and tight, 5 points of pressure, and the whole thing. I mean, you coach the same way because, I mean, there's nothing you can do any different. You coach it. We should coach it no matter who we play. When you're in the pocket, two hands on it, it's ended tight. When you're running it, where it's locked in as a back, as a receiver, as a quarterback, and you play ball.
I guess, in a game like that, if they're
It's the same as last game. It's the same as last game, the same as the next game.
Suzanne, then Travis to the left.
I was curious, when you flip on and watch Alabama's offensive tape now, how different does it look than when you were working for Nick calling the plays?
We're just laughing about that. I can call them.
Same thing? But I mean,
It's very similar. I mean, there's some different. You evolve. You got to remember, that's been 14 years ago. 2004 was the last time we were together. But I mean, the basis of it is still there. But you evolve into something because the game changed. In 14 years, the game's changed. I mean, still a lot of them and what they do and things they do are still very similar because they're successful, just like any offense. Like if you go watch New England's offense from 10 years ago, they'll be doing the same things, a lot of the same basis things they do now, just like the great San Francisco, the West Coast team is still running San Francisco's plays from the 80s. So, I mean, if things that work in ball, I mean, there's certain things that always work. You know what I'm saying? Because they're sound, and it's a matter of execution. But they all evolve, but it's still very similar.
and then just on piggyback on that, when you turn on film now, how much different does their passing game look than, say, this time a year ago?
It does because I think they've opened it up more. They're throwing more drop back. There's a larger volume of that right now in what they're doing in their base first and second. Now everybody has it on third down, but in the first and second down things, you're seeing more volume of true passing game, drop back passing game than they did before, no doubt.
To the left, Travis, and then to the right, Brent.
With how intelligent everyone has said Kwame is, how much of an asset is he to have with the young running back core that y'all have?
Very good. Kwame's a great guy. He's very strong. He's dynamic. Catches the ball. He's intelligent. He can play a multitude of things. You can teach him. He's a great guy to have there and a great example for them to watch. Him and Travion both.
Brent.
How would you evaluate the play of your secondary to date, and what does it need to improve on?
Well, I think you're always trying to eliminate big plays. I mean, in the secondary, and that's the key thing. We've given up some, but at the same time, we've broken up a lot. As a secondary guy, you got to have a short memory, but you got to understand why that happened and correct it, and then try to get better at it. And you focus and concentration at every play. One slip up. It's like I always tell when I grind the quarterback, every time he touches it, the game can change, one way or the other. Just like when you're in the secondary, one slip up, one eye violation, one missed jam, missed trip, missed slip can happen. And there's going to be things that are not always right, but you got to have a short memory and you got to get technique better. And I think Mo and Coach Elko are doing a great job of getting those guys better and better. And we got to improve. We've given up a couple big plays, but hopefully we'll continue to grow in that regard.
To the left, Justin. To the right, Gabe.
Coach, given you and Nick's history, is this at all like a psychological going into the game like, oh, he knows I might call this here, I might call something different? I mean, does that go back and forth in your mind?
No, it does, because we've been apart so long. You know what I mean? You know, sometimes when you're with a guy quickly, you know, but we've been apart a long time, and, you know, we've only played once since we split up, so it doesn't. But you just know one thing. They'll be very well prepared. They'll be sound. They're going to be ready to play, and you're going to have to make plays to beat them. They're not going to give you anything.
All right, to the right, Gabe, and then to the left, Rob.
Jimbo, Jay-Sean Corbin looks like a guy that's really emerging as a freshman. How much do you think he could help you in a certain series?
We need to
here
develop
against-
he and Vernon and all those young fresh, Charles Strong and all those guys in that group, along with Kwame and what we're trying to do, because we got to have depth, and we got to take carries off of Trayvon as the season goes on, and those young guys are really starting to emerge. And he looked really good the other night. I was very proud of the way he looked, and he's going to have to help us, and I know he can help us, no doubt.
To the left, Rob.
Picked up some nice blitzes too. Did a nice job in some blitz pickup too.
Coach, now with 3 games under your belt, can you see a maturity with your discussions with Kellerman in between series?
Without a doubt. And in game plan, and film watching, and practice. Immediately when he makes a mistake, why he makes a mistake. You know, sometimes, hey, I did this. Yes, sir, you got it? You understand why? Yes, sir. Okay, move on. I mean, or suggestions he has, and, you know, that's a good idea. I mean, understanding the conceptually what you're trying to accomplish and what would be good, and then, you know, because at the end of the day, there's things I like, and I say, okay, how do you like that? Which I've always been with my quarterbacks, because, listen, I can say it all you want. You got to go execute it. Do you feel comfortable with that? And if you don't, we'll discuss it and try to find something else. Or sometimes I'll say, you know, listen, these 2 things here, let's work on that. I gotta have them this week. You got to work on it and get a little better, okay? But that give and take is fun. It really is. And I'm gonna tell you, Nick brings a lot of good ideas into that thing, big time. Our conversation, 3-way conversations, a lot, and what we're trying to do. They're understanding conceptually what we want, and it's fun to talk to them. It really is.
To the right, Sam. Time for a couple more.
Jimbo, how do you feel about the pass protection, and where do you guys need to get better in that front?
Well, I think you always, anytime a quarterback gets hit ever, you want one. We got to continue to grow. We got to learn to chip better. And the big thing is not overset and know where your help is. So I think in pass protection, just like in run blocking, like all the holds we got, we're not understanding where our help is and how to use our help. And the holds we got in the pass game were the same way. It was oversetting, crossing over, and not knowing where your help is, where you can get a chipper, or you got a guy to inside out come to you, and you let yourself sometimes a little lap of focus. Everybody thinks it's a physical thing. Sometimes it's a mental lapse of saying, you know, you forgot I had help inside, where I don't have to set that way, or I need to set wider because I do have help inside. I mean, little things like that, because when you play against great people, it's that simple how big a change from a play it can be. And I think it's just knowledge of our protections, knowledge of what we're doing, and communication up front, just constant. And that not just between the linemen. That's also running backs. That's also tight ends. And that's also quarterbacks getting the ball out on blitzes and things that he knows that are hot in blitz. Because listen, no matter what protection you have, they can always bring one more than you got. They can always bring one more than you got. So the ball's got to come out. Now it's a chance on them. That's a gamble. Can you get to the guy and get the ball to the right playmaker before that happens? So those are all things that have to be the communication we're continuing to grow on, and we'll just hopefully get better in practicing. Hey, that's what we're going to go practice for today.
We'll go Ben and Gabe.
Do you, whenever you see other former Saban assistants, do y'all ever talk about what it'd be like to beat him, or why he's so difficult to beat? Are you friends with anybody that's
a lot
been
of
on his
Kirby
staff?
and Jeremy and whoever. I mean, all of us. We all are.
Does that ever come up in conversation when y'all are talking, or no?
No.
Gabe.
We got too many other things to talk about.
Jimbo, you've been playing a lot of 5 DBs. We know you're thin at linebacker. How do you feel? How confident are you if you put Buddy out there and 3 linebackers at the
We feel good. I mean, he's in and out. It's just you're playing a lot of that because that's what people demand you play. I mean, we're in a 3-wide world. We're in a, when you get caught with mismatches and things like that. So, I mean, I can't remember. I bet if you study most people across this country, I bet everybody's at least 65% nickel, what I would say DB. At least 65%. They play in because everybody's 3 and 4. I mean, you're spreading the field more. Like I say, we're the dinosaurs that line up with the tight end, the eye, and 2 tight ends, and we're like old school. I mean, Newt Rockney and them would be happy. I mean, but it's just I think it's a wave of the game. You know what I'm saying? That's the biggest part of it.
We'll go Brent, Nolan.
But to answer your question, I feel very confident in Buddy. Buddy's played well when he's been out there.
Brent.
Tyrell told us he's the designated scoop and score guy. How does one go about getting that designation, or at least he was in that situation? And
Coach
also,
puts him there. I mean, whoever has contain, whoever has a fake on, we have certain guys. Sometimes it's corners or whatever that run up the field, and we'll play fakes with them. It's just built into your system. Right. Whoever's your guys on the edge. There's no special guy that gets that designation.
Okay. And how about him getting down the line, 78 yards and doing.
Oh, that's very rewarding because see he has to get to the level of the kicker to stop the fake because even if you step back, you allow options and things to happen. You want to make that thing happen where you can jam those two up and you contain and you have no tricks or anything else. So he got rewarded for doing his job. That's why I say big plays come from ordinary things. And that's what we got to do. And if you look at all of our mistakes in that game, they were ordinary things. They were not things that were hard. They were not, and that's the way it always is. We got to do ordinary better. And our job as a coach and as a team is to do ordinary better than anybody else. The base fundamentals of blocking, tackling, leveraging the ball, knowing where your help is, knowing where your pass pro help is. And on a field goal PAT, getting to my right spot, two other guys did their job. Guys inside did their job blocking. You get rewarded. See, that's what people don't realize. They say, boy, you made a big play. No, you made a smart play. And you did your job. It's amazing how many times you'll do your job and do it right. Good things will happen to you. And it's a perfect example of that happening. Everybody doing exactly what we want them to do. We got tremendous surge inside. We get a block. And that's why another reason we say, because those kicks, if they get blocked, they go backwards. Well, he would have loafed and been lazy and taken 2 steps across the line. You take 2 steps across the line and stand there. Well, that ball then is bouncing. He's trying to pick it up. It might not be a score. Because he got deep and we were lucky enough to get a bounce like that, the ball went in his hands. So, it's just rewarding for guys to do the ordinary things. And that's what he was really doing. But ordinary is what makes heroes. Doing the ordinary. People go to be heroes anywhere. They ain't trying to be heroes, probably just trying to do what's right. Good thing, and something happened. That's the way players are.
Olin, wrap us up.
Yeah, Coach, any word on Eric McCoy? Any kind of update?
Yeah, I think Eric will be all right. Eric seems to be all right. He's moving around good. So we may watch him for a day or so and just give him a day to rest, but he should be good to go.
All right, Coach, thanks.
Thank you.